Welcome, everyone. Emerging. 4 steps for tapping into courage and clarity when you need it. And boy, with everything that's going on right now, um, a lot of us need that. Kathy, do you want to speak to that?
I did, and I'd just like to invite us to just, if we can, be present with our bodies. I notice that we're in a circle of people that really care, people that are doing their best to create a space where we can feel safe and loved. I love that Rick created the circle and this group so that we can come here and we don't have to be alone. We don't have to feel so buffeted by what all is going on out there. And I do think it's also really important to acknowledge that this is a hard time for all of us. There's so many unknowns that with the virus, we don't know how soon things are going to open, how safe things will be, what's going on, when. And then we have all that's going on with Black Lives Matter. And I want to speak to that because I think it's really important to acknowledge there are a lot of people suffering, like, uh, to have that on top of what's going on with the coronavirus is just, it would seem so impossible to deal with. And I just want to acknowledge that people of color are dealing with a whole level of things that feel, in a world that already feels really challenging, like really confusing, to have people saying awful things on the internet and for people to be driving into parked protesters and the like. I just want to acknowledge that that's not okay what people are doing, and that like people of color need to have support, and they need to be loved, and they need to be seen as valuable. I had a small taste of, when I was reading what the states were doing for the hospitals here in California, they were saying that how would they triage it if there were a lot of people coming in, they couldn't support everyone. And they were saying that older people over a certain age would not get support if they had health issues. And they also said if they were bigger. And one of the areas near me said if someone's 20% overweight, I'm bigger than that, that they wouldn't choose to save them if that there were a lack, and just to feel that lack of value, that lack of appreciation. And that's not something I have to live with every day. That's not something where I have to be afraid to go take a walk. So I just want to speak to that. And I know that it might be bringing up stuff for people, but I think it's all there. And we've kind of numbed it out a little bit to try to get through our days. And in this circle, in this space, I want us to be able to feel what's really here, because if we can feel what's really here, we can heal a little bit more. And when we heal a little bit more, we're actually healing the world. I think that we're here as stand-ins for some people. We clear things and we model that for other people, and they learn to do that with us. And they see us being a little calmer and a little more loving and a little more supportive. One of the reasons I show up for these calls, and I'm so glad to do them, is because each of you, to me, you really are heroes. You are looking at things that other people don't dare look at, and you are facing them, and you are clearing them, and you are creating the world I want to live in. I think back about my younger self, and I didn't know some mornings why I was waking up. My family fought all the time, and we didn't have enough food, and we didn't know what to do. And I didn't know some mornings why I was waking up. And you are why I was waking up, because you're helping create a world where we can all love each other, and there's enough for all of us, and nobody has to be left behind. So I just want to acknowledge that for all of you. Like, what you're doing here is not trivial. It's so important. And I want to honor you on that. And I just really appreciate you showing up on a day like today and doing this work. And we really hope that what we offer you, what we bring here, will give you food and fuel for that journey. So thank you for being so amazing.
Thank you, Kathy. I happen to be reading a book by Jacqueline Novogratz, if I've pronounced the name correctly. It's called Manifesto for a Moral Revolution, Practices to Build a Better World. She's one of the co-founders of Acumen, who works around the world to create opportunities for the least advantaged of us. And this morning I was reading about courage, and she said, "Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the ability to look fear in the face and continue to walk forward. All of us have something that frightens us, whether or not we admit it. And there are as many forms of courage as there are of fear. Only by nurturing our courage will we prevent our fears from making and keeping us small. And I feel like that goes to the energy of emerging. Yes, it can be about like emerging from the space that we've been in, but it's also about retuning to the things that are dear to us and getting clear on those within our own nervous system, within our own body, and building energy. The energy of courage is, to me, it's in our core, it's in our heart, and it comes out in that way. It comes out through our voice and through our actions and our stand in the world, as well as what we offer to each other. And so thank you, as Kathy said. Um, we're a part of a broader community, and I know that there are, out of the lists that have heard about this event, you all are here, and that means something. And those of you that couldn't be here live, that are going to be looking at the recording, please know that you are a part of this experience and this connection as well. For me, when I'm in more, there's a lot going on out in the world, and there's a lot going on inside our own lives and experiences. It can be helpful to have some numbers. I have a 6-year-old, and counting to 1, 2, 3, 4. He figured that out years ago, and so returning to the 1, 2, 3, 4 is really helpful. And so we're going to use that not to reflect that this is simple and trivial, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all there is, but to help us track. And so
I think it's really helpful. We have grounding exercises on Thriving Now, thrivingnow.com/grounding. And one of the things is, if we can get our cognitive brain, our intellectual brain, to help with the overwhelm, it helps us step out of our survival brain's kind of freaked out. Knowing there's 4 steps can help your intellectual brain kind of go, okay, it's all right, puppy. You know, like, because our survival brain's about as smart as a small dog. It's like, there, puppy, you're doing a good job. We have 4 things we need to do. So we invite you to dive in with us.
Okay. So, should we just start with step 1, or do you want to outline the 4?
I think let's start with step 1 and take them through, and then we'll summarize them at the end.
Okay. There's a chat window. It may be under ... on cell phones and the like. It is, but look for chat, and you can send a chat message to us, the group, and we're going to be monitoring that. Okay. Step 1, quiet the noise. What does that mean? What does that mean to you if you're going to be in this process? What does quiet the noise mean to you, and how do we do it?
I think for our survival brain right now, there's so much going on. It can feel like there's like 5 people standing around or 20 people standing around yelling at us that we have to do this, we should do this, we should watch out for that. And it's hard to hear our own inner guidance and know what's right for us. And one of the things that I've been reading a lot on is how there's a lot of bots on Facebook and Twitter. Some of them are Russian controlled, some of them are different groups controlled. So we don't actually know even what we're seeing in the media, how much of that is accurate if we're not going to a really high level, like I go to the CDC webpage to try to get information. It's not always as entertaining or as playful as Facebook is, but I know it's probably more filtered. But when we have all that going on out there, it's really hard to know what's true for us, what's right for us in the moment. And so if we don't bring that quiet down and let our own self be heard, there's no way for us to get the clarity that we're really wanting. And it's hard to have courage if 20 people are standing around us, yelling at us different things, telling us, you know, that person's wrong, this person's right, we should do that. It's really hard to move forward. So this is just so foundational. If we can quiet the noise and bring ourselves back to right here, to right now, to the breath coming in, the breath going out, our butt in the chair, our feet on the floor.
So let's just take a moment and do that together. I'd like you to imagine that we're part of a circle. The group of us here, there's plenty of space. You can be as far, and since we're in digital realm, you can actually be close to people that you care about too. And one of the things I do to quiet the noise is go back to something that I can count on, and at least on Earth, gravity. So I'll let gravity do a little bit more of the work of holding me down, keeping me solid. And when you do that, you'll notice you start feeling, if you're sitting, you'll feel your sit bones. And there's a feeling that can come up your body, your core, your spine. And as it reaches your head, you might even imagine your tongue getting a chance to rest in a hammock of your jaw. A lot of us carry strain in our jaw and throat, and giving yourself some touch. As Kathy said, let our own self be heard and felt. And as you let gravity pull you, relax your tissues, we have to resist gravity so we're not a puddle on the floor. But we can relax more into it. And in just seconds, doing this is what we call grounding. You're literally increasing your connection and relationship with the ground. And feeling your feet on the floor. And maybe all the way down into the earth. This is a simple practice which makes it in times of noise really helpful. It can be done when someone's talking at you. Notice I said at you, not with you. And when you ground yourself and you feel your own core, even if it's not verbal, you can start to also feel the part of you that rises. The bones rise up from that pull. Your core rises up. And we use Eft tapping. This is tapping on meridian points that have been known by many cultures, places where we rub and bring comfort, stimulation, both. And we're going to be doing some tapping today, especially to quiet the noise. And again, building up in simplicity, these points called the collarbone points, they're on the kidney meridian. They're at the end of the kidney meridian. And by gently tapping on these points, if the bone of the collarbone is right there, just down about an inch or so into the softer area, and start with just some gentle rhythm that feels right to you. And you might feel like you're breathing, like I often feel my breathing pause, like, and then as you continue tapping, see if you can let your breath also allow gravity to relax your diaphragm, your breath. And then pause. And take a breath, and if you'd like, let's all imagine that if you feel comfortable, and all of our suggestions are suggestions. If something is not right for you, not good for your body or where you are right now, please just let it be. But let's take a breath, and Kathy, would you also echo some noise with me? Just a nice sigh. It stimulates the vagus nerve, which lets our primitive brain know, hey, it's okay. It's better. We can head toward a place of quieting the noise. Okay. Hello.
You wouldn't make that sound if you were a rabbit hiding in the bushes or a lion was about to eat you. You make that noise when you vibrate. One way to tell is if you put your hand on your chest, and when you sigh out, if that vibrates, your hand vibrates, you're really moving that nerve. And it's a biofeedback loop telling your brain and your body you're safe. Nice. And it's really important to have this calm. One of the things we did at the beginning was we kind of acknowledged some of the things that are going on for the world and individuals. I know people in this group have other challenges and things they're facing as well. One of the things about this is if we can be present with our calm self and aware out there of some things at the same time without letting that swamp us, we can walk through the world in a very powerful way. There are times when we want to just retract and we need to just take care of yourself. When I was really, really sick a few years ago, I couldn't worry about out there at all. I had to just worry about me here and now. But for most of us functioning in the world, especially as we're emerging and things are starting to open up, having awareness of what's out there without letting it come in and wash over us like a tsunami, it's a really powerful thing. And I don't think many people talk about it or give us a conscious visual of it. I think a lot of people just expect us to be adults and handle it. And it's really hard to feel like we're calm and grounded if the waves are all rushing at us in different ways. So if you can come back to yourself and I encourage you, look around the room, the space you're in right now, and notice that there are no lions or tigers. There's no people protesting. I'm imagining in your room, there's no one doing that. And just notice that there's enough air to breathe. Right this moment, there's plenty of air to breathe. As Rick said, there's gravity holding you solidly together on the earth. And just those are simple things you can do to let your eyes and your ears notice that you're safe. It goes right to our primitive brain. At a very primitive subconscious level, it tells us we're safe. And then also if we take that breath and make the noise, brings us here and now.
Our body picks up on a trend. And so I'll hear from people, I don't have time for going and meditating and doing my yoga practice, or there's too much noise. So we've just spent, even with our talking, we've just spent a few minutes. And when you do that, especially with the intention, you're not dissociating. You're doing something very different. You're aware, as Kathy said, and you're also becoming more present in yourself, inside of your skinosphere. If you like the feeling, giving yourself a hug and scanning your body. Where's there maybe something that feels more chaos or pain? It doesn't have to be the biggest thing. It can be any place inside of you where you're aware your body's calling for some attention. And here you might check in and see, like, if there was an emotion there, what might it be? Now, an emotion is an energy. That's another word for it. It's not just happy, sad, whatever. Like, to me, there's an emotion of bracing deep in my pelvis, and it's about a 4. And I'm aware of it. And if I'm seeking clarity and courage, it's useful for me to tune into some part of my body first. We've just done some things, but tuning into some specific part that feels like it's got something going on and helping it feel supported. And let's tap together. You're welcome to repeat the words or change them, whatever is right for you. Even though I'm noticing this part of my body has tension.
Even though I'm noticing this part of my body has tension.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Even though I notice this part of my body is feeling uncomfortable.
Even though I notice this part of my body is feeling uncomfortable.
I'm offering support for that part of me.
I am offering support for that part of me.
unconditionally.
unconditionally.
Top of the head. This discomfort right there.
This discomfort right there.
Eyebrow. Part of me is feeling stressed.
Part of me is feeling stressed.
Side of the eye. A part of me is feeling really uncomfortable.
A part of me is feeling really uncomfortable.
Under the eye. A part of me might be bracing for what's next. Ah!
Part of me might be bracing for what's next, for good reason.
Under the nose. And I'm aware of it.
And I'm aware of it.
Chin. And it's okay.
And it's okay.
Collarbone. My body's seeking balance and clarity.
My body is seeking balance and clarity.
Under the arm. And I also want to be safe.
And I also want to be safe.
And respect all parts of me.
And respect all parts of me.
Right now, I want my own clarity, and I need it.
Now I want my own clarity, and I need
Take a deep breath.
it.
Okay. Anything where the trend is toward a little more calm, your clarity can have more room to speak, to show itself, or to speak in the tissues of your body in a kinesthetic way. For those of us that are kinesthetic, we'll feel the yes and the no of what's true for us. Some people see things as brighter or, I don't like the look of that. And some might hear their own guidance, the guidance of their connection to source, whatever form and fashion that is. Number 2, gain clarity. Kathy, would you like to share a little bit of the process of the gaining clarity in such times?
Yeah, and I think that this is something that I think our society has really taught us to push past and ignore. And so building the muscles to this are so important. It's actually when we've gotten quiet to just be with ourselves for a few moments. Our society rewards us for doing, thinking things through, making rapid decisions based on our intellect, versus being with our body and using the whole of ourselves as an antenna for awareness and guidance on what we want to do. So when we've gotten quiet, you may notice there's part of your brain saying, this is a waste of time, I don't have time to do it. Other excuse, I'll do it later. This often happens because one, the muscle is weak to do this because we're not practicing it very often. But two, our brain, we've been rewarded for pushing through. If you're not sure, just make a decision and do it. Think quickly, come on. And really if we give ourselves a couple moments just to be in that space of not knowing, just to be with our system, our body, our spirit, our mind, and let ourselves be a little bit uncertain. We are taught in our society the uncertainty is a fault, an issue of not being smart enough or not thinking quickly enough or not pushing through, when really uncertainty just means it hasn't bubbled to the surface yet. And when we can just be with that uncertainty rather than making a snap decision, we often make very powerful decisions for ourselves that save hours, days, years, lifetimes. Because we're actually being with our entire self rather than trying to make a decision off the cognitive part of our brain, which has been so trained from elementary school on to make a quick decision and stick to it. Our bodies are amazing antennas. So what were you going to say?
I was going to invite you to lead us in a tapping. Again, like as you tune into something that you'd like clarity about, I invite you to choose something that matters to your heart, to bring and that can be something that's a creativity or a love or something that there's a yearning in your heart these days that you've been noticing. And by bringing your head, your heart, and your whole being into play, and allowing yourself, as Kathy said, for just be with. I'd like you to lead us, if you would, on being with the uncertainty in that,
Yeah.
so that we can build that muscle, that energy. Building the energy of being okay with uncertainty, to me, is what gives clarity and courage. So,
Yeah. And we're taught to get away from those feelings that are bad, disappointment and uncertainty. So karate chop. Even though I'm not sure what to do right now,
even though I'm not sure what to do right now,
I'm not sure how this will turn out.
and I'm not sure how it will turn out.
And I'm afraid that means I'm not doing things right.
Aww, that's tender. And I'm afraid it means I'm not doing things right.
Maybe I'm in exactly the right place right now.
Maybe I'm in exactly the right place right now,
Even though this feels kind of uncomfortable,
even though it feels uncomfortable.
partly because I've been trained that this is a bad thing to be,
Partly because I've been trained that not being decisive is just not a good thing to be.
and partly because I don't have a direction forward yet.
And partly because I don't have a clear direction forward yet.
What if this place is magical?
What if this place is magical? That was hard to say.
What if I'm actually creating my life right now?
What if I actually am creating my life right now?
Top of the head, I'm being with this uncertainty.
I am being with this uncertainty,
Eyebrow, even though it doesn't feel really fun.
even though it doesn't feel really fun.
Side of the eye, no one ever taught me to see it as an adventure,
Nobody ever taught me what?
to see this as an adventure.
Yeah, no. No one ever taught me to see this as an adventure.
Under the eye, a magical surprise.
A magical surprise might be possible.
Under the nose, what if I was just present with myself and my uncertainty?
I'm being present with myself and my uncertainty,
Chin, and letting my true desires bubble to the surface.
and letting my true desires bubble to the surface.
Collarbone, I can just breathe and be here.
I can just breathe and be here.
Under the arm, I'm building a very powerful muscle.
I am building a very powerful muscle and clarity.
Top of the head, and sometimes that building muscles feels a little uncomfortable at
And
first,
sometimes it feels uncomfortable.
but then it's really worthwhile in the long run.
It's something I want. It's worthwhile to me.
Take a nice slow deep breath. So one of the things I've found on good days when I start feeling this discomfort, I get excited now. I'm like, oh, I'm heading in the right direction. Versus when I make snap decisions that I've been taught should, like I get a dopamine rush sometimes from being very effective because I've been so conditioned to do that. I'm an engineer, very like get things done. I've been a manager. But I really think that was me running on what society said was right and what I was getting rewarded from externally. Versus I still like those things. I like to earn money and I like to have some of those kudos, but I really want to make sure my own internal guidance is there too. And so when I start feeling that uncertainty now, like again on good days, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I'm letting myself be part of this. I'm building that muscle. And on bad days, I get really frustrated and I flail around for a while first. So there's nothing wrong with this. You are doing something that society never taught us, and you're creating a new path where you can walk forward with your heart and your gut and your body and your mind all aligned, and that is so powerful. So I really want to congratulate you. Even if you just stepped into that for just a few seconds, you built up that muscle a little more. You taught your brain that nothing bad happened. And in fact, I got to be with myself, and maybe you got some epiphany or like things started coming more clear for you. And honestly, sometimes, some days it will click in pretty fast if I just stay with that. And there's other days when, as Rick said, the banana's not right. And I'm like, oh, I don't have clarity here. And maybe I don't need to make a decision right now, or I can make the best decision I can if I have to. But I can also just be like, oh, like in terms of planning things, there's a lot of trips I was planning this summer. My niece is supposed to fly out here. And we talked and we're just like, we don't know. We don't know if she'll be able to come out in July. So we're just kind of letting it be. And we're just checking in and being with the uncertainty and just we're connecting a little more and just sharing honestly what we're both feeling and what we'd like to have happen. And it's actually been a really beautiful connection.
Hearing you say that, the uncertainty is about an action, and I'm guessing that the connection and the love that the two of you have is something that you're really clear matters to you,
Yeah.
right? And this is, to use clarifying vocabulary, certainty feels it feels a certain way. It says, oh, if I do this, then that is really almost certain to happen. Clarity is a powerful state of being that tunes you to what's dear to you enough to put your energy, your life force into it. If you think about like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, it feels a certain way. It feels a certain way. Clarity feels to me, and everyone's body might resonate since we're each different instruments. Clarity feels like there's oh, yes, I want to put my life force into this. I want to be in that experience. In the emotional world, we're emotional freedom coaches. I really, what emotional freedom for all is so dear to me. And safety, right now, it's like, oh, safety. Oh, yeah, safety. And so I invite us each to take a moment, and again, let's be with what bubbles, if anything, right now, that bubbles that matters to your heart, matters to you. It matters to you enough that you want to invest your life time and energy in that. And in the near term, something that you'd like to emerge into.
Yeah, and I would encourage you to write it down either on a pen and paper where you are, or if you want to type it in the chat, because some of this, as this clarity comes forward, and I think what Rick, what you said was so profound. Certainty means I am going there no matter what. I'm going that direction. And I think of my mother sometimes. She would have certainty about what is right for me, and she was driving that direction no matter if I wanted to or not. Versus clarity is allowed to pivot and adjust. And it's like, I want to have a beautiful connection with my niece and I love her. And maybe it's right for us to get together, maybe it's not. And I can still feel grounded and centered on myself. And maybe she doesn't come in July, but maybe she does. And it doesn't have to be this, we're going to make it happen because I've decided that's the outcome that's right. It's the being with it, the art of it. So I just thought that was really profound and I wanted to emphasize it. Some of the times when we're, especially when we're learning to practice this clarity, it can bubble to the surface and then slip away. Just because we're not used to it. So if you write it down, sometimes looking at it later, that the act of writing it down or typing it out can help anchor it. But it can also bring clarity because once we put it in a solid form, there's often a sense of, oh, that's almost right, but not quite. I need to adjust this, or I need to say this a little differently. And getting that clarity, words have a lot of power. So when we have the words right, it can help remind us and anchor us in that clarity.
Thank you. So again, if you have something that you can write down that matters. And again, we go back to the body. Step 3 is So we've been quieting the noise. We're still quieting the noise. We're gaining clarity, and we're still gaining clarity. And now this third part is overcoming inertia and resistance. Inertia, the forward movement, resistance, the pullback, to taking some inspired action. And when I say inspired action, think a starting point, a 2-minute, a 20-minute, no more. You don't need more than 2 minutes in this to have, if you imagine doing something for 2 minutes, the inertia and the resistance will just come right up for you. Ta-da! I can feel it in my face.
I think that goes back to what you were saying about certainty versus clarity. Certainty means I'm driving there and I need to get there very fast before the alignment shifts or something drifts out of true. Like I am going to clean that closet and I'll have that, like I must have my closet perfectly clean to be safe. It's a thing I have. My closets always get cleaned. But I'll try to drive and get it all done. I'll try to force myself to get the entire thing done before my energy shifts or my alignment with that shifts. Versus clarity is, I want to be in a home that's easy to function in, and I can find things in. It makes me feel good. That means if I'm in my clarity, I can do 2 minutes now, and then maybe I don't have a real clear next step, and I can just be with myself and do something else and come back, and it's okay for it to be a process. With that certainty of it, when I'm driving to, sometimes I'll like pull my willpower together and I'll power through that closet, but it doesn't stay cleaned because it wasn't really aligned. The way I did it was like a mental drivenness versus that true clarity of my system, that this feels good to have this in this place. So I don't know if that helps with the analogy or not.
Yeah, why don't you lead a tapping on that?
Yeah, so let's take a nice slow deep breath. Gratitude tap. Even though I've always thought I need to drive through to completion.
Even though I always thought I had to drive through to completion.
And that's what a lot of corporations and schools teach people.
And that's what a lot of corporations and schools demand of people.
Yeah, because it gets things done.
Gets things done. There's a deadline.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that's the best way for me to move forward.
That's not the best way for me to be in my clarity.
What if I took one step forward?
What if I took one step forward?
And then just tuned in.
And just tuned in then.
And saw what was right for me next.
And felt and saw and heard what was right for me next.
From this new vantage point, even 2 minutes away.
From this new vantage point, even just 2 minutes away, I'm getting excited.
There might be a much better step for me to take next.
There might be an even better step for me to take next.
Or maybe it's my time to pause and just be with myself.
Maybe it's time for me to pause and just be with myself in that place.
And if I'm really in my alignment and my clarity,
and if I'm in my alignment and my clarity,
I'll take these steps when they're right for me.
I'll take these steps when they're right for me.
And that feels really good.
And that feels really good.
Top of the
Starting
head.
to feel really good.
Top of the head. Maybe it's okay for me to take baby steps forward.
Maybe it is okay for me to take baby steps forward.
Eyebrow, that's not what they taught me.
That is not what they taught me. Begin with the end in mind.
There are times when that's useful.
There are times when that's useful.
Under the eye. And right now, I'd really like to play with my clarity.
And right now, I would really like to play with my clarity. You're muted.
Under the nose. What if we are dancing together?
What if we were dancing together?
Chin, me and my clarity.
Me and my clarity.
Collarbone. And we were creating my life with each step we take.
And creating my life with each step I take.
Under the arm, discovering each note together.
discovering each note together.
Top of the head, and what we'd like to create in that moment.
And what we'd like to create in that moment.
Take a nice, slow, deep breath. I think of that kind of as a playful, meditative living, where each moment is like, what would be nice now? Huh? How about now? Oh, I did that. How about now? And to me, it feels very alive and fluid and not driven like, oh, we must get there, but like, oh, in this moment, oh, I see this. I see Cindy smiling, and I see Suzanne writing something down, and I see Lori nodding her head a little bit, and Michelle's looking at me, and oh, this like letting the energy of the moment dance with you. And I think that's a really beautiful way to be. It's very playful, easy.
It's richer too. It's interesting you mentioned closets.
Yeah.
From 2 until just before the call, I had on my heart that I wanted to make more space in my office closet. My partner is now sharing a desk. She's not here right now, but her desk is. And it matters to me for her to feel some spaciousness and ease of moving things in that are right for her. And I wanted to do that. And a part of me earlier had been like, I need to get it done. I need to get it done. And today, thank you, topic, and the desire to walk this, I did these steps, and I went in, and I felt, and I picked up something, and I said, I'm done with this, and it went into a box that was going to be going to be gifted away, and I took a picture that I had taken down from the wall, and I put it in the closet. It's right above the printer now. It's a meaningful picture to me. So now when I go in the closet, I'll see that. And over the time that came, I came into a picture book. I got to see pictures of me with my now adult kids. If I was driving toward the task rather than being with what matters, family and space and heart, I would have rushed through those things.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than pausing and being with it, remembering, sitting in the back of my SUV with my baby boy in my lap over at the barn. It still matters that happened, but that's what I wanted to. I'm sharing that story so that we wanted to amplify and normalize and encourage and invite people to be in their emotional flow, which includes our whole body. It includes that energy field that we're cultivating by quieting down, listening, letting yourself be heard, finding what matters to your body, building that clarity, and then feeling and honoring that there's going to be inertia and resistance. I don't care what it is or how important it is to you. There's going to be those things. Sometimes it's below the surface and it doesn't much matter. And sometimes it is so big, it's like, wow. And these skills that we're building through using things like tapping and honoring and respect for ourselves and our process, they help us. They will help all of us and everyone that we touch to be in that kind of flow. And you'll notice it with others. You'll notice it, whether they're consciously aware of it or not, you'll notice that some people, like, they quiet themselves. And then when they return back into the engagement, they have a clarity. And maybe they feel like they need to overcome your inertia and or really overcome their own inertia by being really, I got to do this. And we can say, I feel your clarity. I feel the oomph behind it. Thank you. I appreciate that in my life, in the world.
I think it's so important. And Cindy said, I love how you said it. I want to be dancing with the energy of light that is wanting to flow through me. And I think that's how I experience some people like that. And I just see them and I'm like, oh, I want to be more like that. And there's days when moments when I can step into it, and some days, and then there's other days where I feel very awkward and stumbling. And I think that's just normal. I don't think all of us dance all the time. We sometimes lose our steps because there's no pattern. Like, it's not the waltz where we always know it's a certain step. We're like making it up as we go along. And sometimes we're trying to grow and dance at a different level. And it's okay to be awkward at that. There's nothing wrong. It doesn't mean we're doing it badly. It just means we're learning some new steps. And I wanted to I know that some people have been saying like these calls are really good and we can only go so deep. We have an hour. So I put in the chat what to do when you don't know what to do. And it's a lot about this, about how to get your guidance and how to know the next steps as you go forward. So if that's something that interests you, it's a course that Rick and I put together. We had a lot of fun doing that. So
That course is also part of our Emotional Freedom Circle memberships as well, and you can get your first month free. And there's even some emotional support options as well. So that's on a gliding scale. Yeah. Shall we do step 4?
I would like to just do a quick tapping, either you or I, on inertia, because I think
Yeah.
because so many of us have been put on hold for the last 3-4 months, it can be really hard. Like, I'm thinking about, there's a Facebook meme that says, I've now become completely feral and cannot be reintegrated into society. And there's a part of me that's like, yeah, that. Like, how do I go back to work every day? How do I like do this? So, would you like to lead that tapping, or would
No,
you like?
I'd love for you to.
Okay.
Inertia.
So, nice deep breath. Karate chop. Even though I've gone completely feral,
Even though I've gone completely feral,
and I'm not sure how to be in society anymore,
I don't know how to be in society anymore, and I'm not sure exactly how I want to be.
I'm curious what I can create for myself.
I am deeply curious about what I can create for myself and those I love.
Yeah, if I can move forward with love
I can move forward with love
and curiosity
and curiosity
and let this inertia drop away.
and let this inertia drop away.
Even though I'm really grateful that we had inertia,
Even though I'm really grateful for inertia,
it got me through some really tough times.
it really did get me through some tough times.
It's there for a reason.
It is there for a reason.
And it's okay now to step out of this.
It's okay now to emerge out of it.
Top of that, I don't have to do this all at once.
I do not and will not do it all at once.
Hi, bro, I can dip a toe in the water first,
I can dip a toe in the water first,
side of the eye, and then decide maybe I want to go to a different part of the pond before I get
and then go to a different side of the pond if I want to.
under the eye. I can dance with the water lilies
I can dance with the water lilies
under the nose, or stay partially on the shore.
or stay on the shore.
Sharon, I've had a lot of inertia for the last few
I've
months.
had a lot of inertia over the last few months.
Collarbone, it was actually life-saving.
Actually life-saving.
Under the arm, I send gratitude to my system for shutting down.
I send gratitude to my system for being where it was.
Top of the head. And I'm invited to start emerging with me
I'm invited to start emerging with me
at a pace that's right for me.
at a pace that's right for me.
Nice slow deep breath.
And thank you for including like choice and safety, respecting the parts of us that, you know, they tune themselves way down in order to endure or stay true or whatever complex mix. When we're safe with ourselves and honoring, respectful of the different aspects of us, then as we emerge, whether it's something that has really been ripening and wanting within you for a long time and now is just the perfect excuse slash invitation slash requirement to do something different. This process of quieting the noise, gaining your clarity, overcoming as in being with the inertia and resistance, and bringing energy, your why it matters. You can tap just saying to yourself why something matters to you. And in that, you might be really surprised at how beautiful you can express it, how powerfully you can express it. And that builds your chi. It builds it up to the right place for you right now, whatever that is. And when you do that, you'll be able to take action. The inertia will feel natural, not a block.
Yeah.
And
I
when
think,
you do this, I want to, is it okay to
yeah,
bring in step 4?
I was just about to. It could, like you said, it can feel natural, but it can also feel strange. It can feel a little
And
weird.
and step 4 is acknowledging the after effects, the vulnerability hangover, the oh dear, I'm in this now. um, I found my stand, my posture towards this and that, and those after effects. I don't know anyone that doesn't have them. They make they may show up in different ways. They do show up in different ways. Some people, when they get a vulnerability hangover, they go for a real alcoholic hangover. Some people, when they get a vulnerability hangover, it's like, okay, I'm going to take 3 days and I'm going to be with this. I'm going to I'm going to tend to myself. Whatever it is, the awkwardness, the weirdness, the boldness, maybe you start feeling a little more powerful than mom or dad would have ever approved of, and you bring the same attention, quieting, getting clarity, and honoring and respecting the you that was courageous. Courage is of the heart, which fuels us. Every cell in our body is fueled by our heart. The heart's energy field extends, no matter how smart we are, the heart's energy field extends beyond what our brain's energy field does. It, it will listen and support your bones and your bravery. And so honoring that you did it, you engaged, maybe you thought about it for 15 minutes and gained more clarity, even if it wasn't something that you could point to and said, oh yeah, I did that. That's still being with it. It's a start. Dreaming about it with intention for it to manifest in a way that's right for you is taking inspired action.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to normalize it. I've been sheltered in place for 11 weeks. Last week, at the end of the week, I had some people doing some stuff in my backyard that needed to get done. They were wearing masks, they were outside, I was inside. But I felt so strange because I've been so far. I felt like I was breaking a rule, or like I'd so kind of gotten in the mode of no one in the space, and we have to keep everyone safe. And I was feeling very like that evening I was so agitated. I was just really like I was bouncy and I couldn't settle into anything. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. Like what happened? And I realized just something changed, and my survival brain was thinking, oh no, we know how to do the right thing. We know how to be a good person. And I had changed that. And it was well within the county guidelines. There was nothing I was doing that was violating that. But my brain was just like, oh wait, this is new and different. So it can feel, especially when we've been shut down for a while and we're going out and then there's different people doing different things at different places, like, how do I do this right? And so if you can give yourself a little space, can we just do a quick tapping on it will
That'd be
feel
great.
space?
And then we'll wrap it up for everyone.
So nice deep breath.
Gravity's working. I'm going to shift my body around, get the energy,
Try to
rub
tap.
hands together. Yeah.
Yeah. Even though this might feel strange
Even though this might feel strange.
and I may be a little agitated
And I may get a little agitated
and question what I'm doing,
and question what I'm doing.
I can go back to my quiet clarity.
I can go back to my quiet clarity
And my curious courage.
and my curious courage.
So that this feels a little strange.
This feels a little strange.
I know this is not what I've been doing for the last few months.
This is not what I've been doing for the last few months.
Under the eye, I'm starting to emerge.
I'm starting to emerge.
Under the eye, I'm like that butterfly coming out of the cocoon.
I'm like that butterfly coming out of the cocoon.
Under the nose, not quite sure how wings work yet.
Not quite sure how everything works yet.
Chin, and I can bring my quiet clarity.
And I can bring my quiet clarity.
Collarbone and my curious courage.
And my curious courage.
Under the arm, and just be with myself in this moment.
And just be with myself in this moment.
And no, I'm not alone. I'm surrounded by wonderful, loving people.
No, I'm not alone. I'm surrounded and doing this with other loving people.
We're all doing really well.
And we're all doing really well.
Thank you. We really appreciate you being here. We love the courage you brought and the curiosity. We hope you enjoyed stepping in and out of these steps. So the first one is quieting the noise and gaining your clarity, activating your courage and your curiosity, and then kind of being with, this could feel just kind of the aftercare for yourself after you step forward. We really love that you're doing this work. We honor that you're doing this work. You're looking at yourself that most people, in a way that most people don't even know they can look at themselves. They don't even know they don't know anything about this. And this is really, that takes courage to look at ourselves in a way that society doesn't talk about all the time. We love supporting you. Rick's Emotional Freedom Circles is one of my favorite things. I've been a member of that for 14 years, I think.
I think so. You're one of the first people, and it's at thrivingnow.com/circle.
Yeah, and if you're not a membership person, if you want more work around this, what to do when you don't know what to do, their link is in the chat. Rick will send the link out to everyone when he sends the replay information. And we also have doing some cuddle parties. We can include the link probably with that, Rick, if that's okay.
Go ahead and send it to me.
So virtual cuddle parties, if you've never done them, they're amazing. Rick and I are both certified. I'm running some with Monique, Darlene. They're boundaries and connection exercises, and we've had so much fun. People feel really fulfilled, and it's about consent and connecting with people. So we've had a lot of fun with those. So if you're looking for different ways you can practice this work, that's a great way to do it as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you all. So imagine the circle again. We have people here from different corners of the earth with different life experiences, and we've shared an hour together. We've tuned into things that matter, and we want to rise and emerge into. And we've honored together that this is not trivial. It matters, especially in these days. And thank you. Thank you for being a part of our community, supporting this work in the world. We so appreciate your words of wisdom. Well, Kathy and I have facilitated this and set the structure. What rises out of this is important to us. Invite you. What were your aha moments? What, if you want to share, what is emerging for you? On the replay page, there will be a comment section at the bottom. And our email address that comes to the two of us is support@thrivingnow.com. We consider ourselves facilitators of an exchange of energy and useful wisdom, practical things that help us live a thriving life and offer safety and respect and freedom in our interactions with others. So.
Yeah, thank you all so much. If you would take just a moment and just appreciate yourself, look around the room and notice, if you want to go to gallery view, you can, but just look around and then also notice that you brought courage today. You helped model that, you helped create that circle, the circle, just like Rick said. and give yourself a pat on the back because we don't appreciate ourselves very often.
Mhm.
So, wow,
Yay.
you're amazing.
All right. Blessings. Thank you. Until next time. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. See hearts and waves. Yay.